Hey, before we get to the show, I want to do a quick shout out and a thank you to Kravet Inc. for sponsoring the podcast. I want you to know that it's time to discover luxury for less with Kravet Furniture's popular upholstery trio, the Jazz, Porter, and Taylor. Now, with improved pricing and faster production times, these stylish frames are available with a 6-week turnaround. Can you imagine furniture in 6 weeks? Kravet's exceptional service combined with great pricing makes them the perfect choice for your next interior design project. Go to kravet.com to learn more and sign up for your design trade account today. Welcome to A Well-Designed Business. My name is Luann Nigara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company Window Works from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. Today, I am talking with Jen Davidson, the founder of Interiors by Jen Davidson, a luxury residential design firm based in Texas. If you've ever wondered what it looks like to stop operating just as an interior designer in your interior design firm and start leading as a CEO, this conversation is for you. When Jen first applied, this is funny, to be on the show over a year ago, she talked about fear and imposter syndrome as a possible topic that we could explore on the show. But when I brought that up as we were getting ready to record this, she kind of laughed and she said, that's not what I would have written today. And that is the power of doing the inside work, of realizing that confidence doesn't come from external success. It comes from deciding who you are and showing up that way. A big catalyst for Jen's transformation in this last year was a conversation she's had with our mutual friend and filmmaker and truth digger, Jude Charles. If you know Jude, you know he doesn't let you off easy. In his very quiet, kind way, he asks the questions that make you stop in your tracks and see yourself in a different way. And that conversation happened at another friend of mine's retreat, Rick Campos's Design Biz Retreat, which, by the way, if you ever see, on social or email that he's running it, go. It's not just pretty conversations. It's a pretty business-changing clarity event. Today, Jen shares what happened when she stopped seeing herself as just a designer and started owning her role as the boss. We talk about building culture, leading with values, and the fundamental work that most businesses skip, but really should never. Let's get into it with Jen. Hey, Jen, thanks so much for joining me on A Well-Designed Business today.
Hi, Luann. It's so good to be here.
Well, what's funny is I'm going to start right there. It's so good to be here because you've waited over a year to be here.
Good things come when you wait,
goodness.
Right?
I'm telling you, that podcast cue, it's enough to make you crazy. But, what's interesting is that it has taken a long time for your turn to come up, right? And interestingly, when I mentioned to you the things that you put on your intake form a year ago, I literally just said to you, it's centered a lot on imposter syndrome and feeling the fear and doing it anyway. And, knowing the lessons that you've learned in that area you wanted to share with your colleagues. And, you said to me, I looked at that myself today. It's not what I would write today. So I'm so curious. The journey, and even you're several years in business. It's not your first rodeo, but it sounds like this past year has been a great year for you, at least from an internal work perspective.
Yes.
So I don't know the answer to that. So tell me about that. What was that? What's been going on this last year, Jen?
Well, it's so funny. I didn't know. You never know where life's going to take you, or where it's going to go or lead. And there was something deep within me and deep inside that I knew that I was struggling with within the business. Things were great. We had great jobs, great clients. We were producing really good work, but there felt like there was something missing and I couldn't figure it out. And so I had gone to this design retreat. I went to Rick Campos' design retreat,
Oh.
and I met Jude Charles, and we really had a very transformative. I struggle with words sometimes. I blame being from Texas part of it, but anyway, we had a conversation, and he was really asking me some deep questions,
As he
and
does.
as he does, correct. And that's where I was like, I don't know if I'm living in fear or if I have this imposter syndrome that's really happening. What is it? And I started kind of peeling back the onion with him. And he's like, you know what? You're not believing that you are the boss. You're living as an interior designer. You're not living as a business owner, the boss. And that right there stopped me in my tracks. And he goes, you need to believe it, own it, show it, and say it. And I was like, mind
Oh,
blown. And
whoa.
that was the start of this, and it will, in October will be a full year of transformation and really looking into my business as the boss and looking at it from a business point of view, and not just this interior designer who was afraid of, not being who I was supposed to be. This imposter syndrome that we all
Yeah,
live with, and we have that fear. And it really changed my mindset. And once I changed my mindset, it just was a domino effect of
that's it.
things
It's like
that I
everything
started
happens, right?
transforming in my business. Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, love, love, love that Jude was the catalyst for this
Yes.
growth period for you. Cause like literally, I know when you're like, started asking you really deep questions, you're just like, because what happens is it's so true. He'll start to ask you questions and you're just like, you're accustomed to people just talking and not really even, and you give him a one word answer, a couple, and he's like, but wait, no more. And you're like,
Yes.
yeah, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, well, but what? And then you're like, oh, you actually want to know. You're actually
Yeah.
here to listen. Oh,
Yes. Yes.
okay. Let me
Yes.
dig deep now. Right?
Yeah,
Right, right, right.
definitely. Yeah.
I love that. So the thing is, what you said was, I want to clarify. I don't think that his advice was you need to start being a boss. I think his advice was you need to start understanding and thinking of yourself as the boss.
Correct.
Am I right? Am I on
Yes.
the money?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So with that in mind, now remind me, how many years are you in business, Jen?
October will be 5 years.
Okay. So, it's funny. I thought it was longer. It seems longer. It
Yeah.
seems longer by
Yeah.
your work product. And of course, I've seen Jude's docuseries that he's made of you and stuff. But even just the website and everything, it does seem more seasoned than just 5. Not that 5 is anything to shake a stick at, but
Sure.
you're comparing it to my 40 plus here. And I'm like, aw, that's so cute. 5
Right.
years. Right?
Right.
But it does, you give the impression of much more seasoned. So that's yay. Okay. But the thing is that having run a business for 5 years and having been the boss of that business and having made the hard decisions and made the hires and said the yeses and the nos to the clients, what was the difference in being the boss and knowing you're the boss? Like, what was that switch? I hear it in a sentence, but
Sure.
what was it for you internally? What was that difference?
This is a deep question because I go deep. I've
This is
become
why
Jude.
me and Jude get along really
That's
well
right.
too.
Um, that was a hard question for me to even today. That it's a hard question to answer, but this is the way I look at it, and hopefully this will answer your question. Is I wasn't looking at it in the way I needed to. And so I talk a lot about knowing the why behind something, peeling back that onion to really understand the why for everything. We all know that having processes and having a process driven, which we are a very process driven company, is important, but why, and understanding those types of things. So I really started diving deep into that. And this word came to me, pillars. And I started thinking, well, I need to have these pillars to hold up the foundation of this company. And for the longest time, I thought those pillars were people. And I realized it's really the processes, the way we do things, our values, our mission. Those are the pillars, and the people are what's holding those pillars up. So I started really having kind of that thought process. And once I did, it really started transforming in the culture of our company. I've really built this company on a culture of trust. And I heard this from a keynote speaker sometime, so I didn't make this up myself, but it was his speech that changed my mind of how I look at it. And I started thinking, when us designers, when we talk about our clients and the things that we have problems with, it's usually because we feel like our clients don't trust us. And that's the one thing we want our clients to trust us. So I thought, for our clients to trust us, we as a team need to have a culture of trust where we trust
Mm,
each other, where we're really strong, because then that will go out to our clients and they'll see that and they'll feel it. So there's like these three key components that I always make sure, like our team and me as a leader, that I am transparent and vulnerable with them and let them know, hey, I'm going to make mistakes. I'm not always going to be the best leader. I'm not always going to make the best decisions, but come to me. Let's be open about it. So
hmm.
that's like number one. Um, Number two is being empathetic. Sometimes we just have really bad days and hard days, and, things happen when we don't expect them to happen. But how can we be empathetic with one another? And then the third one is consistency, just always being consistent and showing up. And I feel like if we do that as a team, then we can do that with our clients. And that's how we will build that trust with our clients. So
I love
that's
that.
just where this last year started with that simple conversation of being boss, but then it's transformed. And through this year, I've really transformed of building that culture of trust, building the team that's going to hold those pillars up. And then having the clients that we're really focusing on building that trust with them and helping them tell their stories. We're very much another reason I connect with Jude is I'm very much feel like I'm a storyteller as well in helping them write their story, their legacy, because it's not just when you pass away, like you're living your legacy now, and we're
Yes.
helping them build that. So I just look at it from that mindset, and that has really, I think, what's helped us. So did that, that was very
It,
long-winded.
well, no, but
And
you
did
know
that
what?
answer?
It did. And what's crazy is, Jen, I have a presentation that I do. And I did it in London when I was with Rick and Jude
Yeah,
for the designers in the UK there. And there's multiple names for it because every time I say it, I say all the words differently, even
sure.
though. So what it is, it's the blueprint for success. It's the 10 non-negotiables.
Yes.
It's the
Yes.
10 things that every successful CEO does. It's the 10 things every successful design firm does.
Yes.
And the thing is, the 10 things are never different.
Mm-hmm.
They're always the
Consistent.
same.
That's right.
But every time I deliver it, I use different stories and different examples. So I could do it 5 days in a row and it would never be the same presentation other than the 10 things. And the crazy thing is the number one thing I start with is all successful business owners, designer, window treatment, cupcake baker, understand and have taken the time to enunciate their mission, vision, and values.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it is also the one thing that 90% of the businesses skip.
Yep.
Like, and here you are 5 years in, and this is exactly your answer to me said, I finally recognized combination of what Jude's words to you, what you said that he said. But what I'm hearing now is your aha was, I've been showing up and doing the work every day,
Yes.
right? I've been doing the
Yes.
design work.
Yes.
But I'm not establishing who we are,
That's
how we
right.
do it beyond the aesthetic, right? And
That's
beyond
right.
the process, because it does. And it's funny, Jen, because I swear to goodness, you can't bang it into somebody's head. They have to understand the
Yeah.
difference, right,
Yes.
of what happens. And the other 9 things, you can do all 9 of them, and you probably were doing the other 9.
Yeah.
But now, even if it's just that one that's missing, it's a clarity filter, right?
It is.
It's a vision seeker finder thing. It's
Mhm.
like, this is what we do. This is where we're going. This is why we're going there, to your
That's right.
point, right?
Yes. Yes, and it gives you that foundation
Mhm.
to that sturdy foundation to stand on.
I love it. I love it so much. I really do. Now, the thing is, the reason why most people skip it is because it's hard to do.
Mhm.
It's not easy.
Mhm.
And, so what did you do to do the work of figuring out what your core values were and how you were going to build rebuild and
Sure.
reply your company on them?
Yeah. A couple things that I did. I spent a lot of quiet time walking and
Yep.
just turning out the noise so I could really kind of focus in and think about what are things that went wrong and why did they go wrong? Where are things that have gone right and why did they go right? um, Starting to think about that, listening to my team. I'm very much, my company name might be Interiors by Jen Davidson, but I cannot do this by myself. I
Right.
really have to have that team behind me. So listening to them, um, reading a lot of books,
Yep. Yep.
listening to podcasts, all of these things. And one thing I've realized is nobody's one way is absolutely right. You have to figure out what's right for you and what
Right.
works for your personality and the way you do things, because then that's when the heart comes out. That's when you're vulnerable. And when you're vulnerable, it brings down the walls for you to be able to receive. And when you can receive, that's when things can start being transformed, if you will. And I
Yeah.
think that's what I did. I brought down those walls and I was raw with myself. And I was like, okay, let's look, because no one wants to pinpoint their failures and where they
Right.
messed up,
Right.
and where
Right.
they're
Right. Right.
failing. But you got to do that so then you can make a change.
Yes, yes, it's
Hmm.
so true. Now, once you did that work, and it might have taken a week, it might have taken 6 months, right? Like to
Or a year.
really form, or a year, okay, right? Right? It's not, and that's what I always say in my presentations. Step 1 is in a minute.
Yeah.
Don't think you're going to do it in an afternoon.
Yeah.
And if you do do it in an afternoon, I'm so thrilled that you did do it in an afternoon, but be open to the fact that you're going to revise and you're going to iterate it and you're going to improve it,
That's
right?
right. Yes.
Because you can get to clarity in an afternoon. You actually can. It could be the baseline of that foundation, right? But so now the step 2, though, is conveying it to the team,
Hmm.
making it not just a hi, this is my new idea. I'm Jen. I'm the boss. This is the new idea. These are our core values now. It's consistency. And what were the other 2 that you said? It was consistency, it was
Empathy
empathy, and
and being transparent, vulnerable.
transparency. Right, right,
Hmm.
right. Personal transparency.
Yep.
We're not talking about showing invoices to clients.
Exactly. Yes.
Please.
Yes. Yes. We are not saying that. And I've even told my team that
Oh
does
my
not
God.
mean we're giving
Yes.
away our how we
No,
run our
no,
business.
right?
Yeah.
We're transparent with the way we do things and our
Sure.
processes, and we're transparent when we're feeling less than, or we're transparent when we're feeling offended, or we're transparent when
Yeah.
we feel joy with a team member or a client, and we
Hmm.
say, "I
Yeah.
think this is great what you did," right?
Absolutely.
So that's, I feel like that's what you meant. So that's good. So
Yes.
the thing is, now you have some clarity for yourself. I just had this question at the RisaCon conference when I mentioned one of the first things you have to do, right? And this particular person runs a fairly large team and took it over from another owner.
Hmm.
And the question was, well, so maybe you know how to do it, but how do you get your team on board?
Yeah.
And so I'm just curious, how did you do it? How did you get your team on board? How did it become a thing that you all feel great and rally around?
Yeah.
Because I didn't even ask you yet if that's what is happening. I can tell by the joy. I can
Hmm.
tell by your, like, through the transformation of it. If that wasn't part of the thing, you'd be like, well, I got my core values, but like, I don't know why.
Right.
Right?
Well, and that's important, is to have a team that understands the why and what our
Yes.
core values are, and that they are a part of that, because if not, then that's going to leave our foundation wobbly.
Yeah.
So we have a team meeting like most companies do every Monday, a time for us to check in. So I have a little like 5 minutes where I'll just kind of talk about where I see like different ahas or something that I've listened to and why it resonates with me, just to kind of plant the seeds. But I wanted to do something more. And so, me and I have an operations manager, we have worked that it's actually happening next week. We're doing a 3-day training, and not everybody even works in house. I have some remote workers and independent contractors, but we're having a 3-day um, training event, if you will, where we're coming in and we're really focused on these values, the whys,
Oh, wow.
everything. So then we can have a time as a team and really understand why the why behind everything, like the process. We use Asana. Well, why do we use Asana? Well, that's going to help us stay consistent. We
Yes.
use a project management platform, Materia. Why do we use that? Because it's a way that our clients can, they know where to go, they know where they can reach us, how to do it. We're staying consistent that way. So it's a training of, the things that we use and why we use them, but then also we're going even further and talking about all of these pillars and really trying to create that culture of trust. So that's happening next week. So I'll report back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, first of all, that is outstanding, Jen.
Thank you.
That is an impressive thing to do. We have done it over the years um, with our full team, not as often as we should have. I can tell you point blank, especially once you do it and you get such great feedback,
Hmm.
and it's really ridiculous. It's like I actually have experienced the before and after. And when I think about how we're not going out of our way to necessarily do that on a calendar, like this is when it happens, it's
Right.
kind of stew not in my head. I'm like
Sure.
literally like, why don't you? Why is it every couple of years? You're like, oh
Right.
yeah, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I love that. But you had to have been sprinkling it out and talking about it in the team meetings, right? So
Yes.
you're just starting to, like you said, share tidbits. Hey, I've been, I mean, I don't know, I'm going to put words in your mouth. I've been having conversations in my own head, and I realize that consistency is
Yes.
critical in everything we do. And then you're just having a conversation, right?
Yep.
Just trying to translate it for somebody who's like, I got to do a reset with my team and we can't all come together and I can't
Right.
wait till we come, right?
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
Okay.
have to start sprinkling, just like you said,
Yeah.
planting the seeds. And then at our meeting, I plan to water the garden, and then hopefully we'll bloom.
Yes, 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 yes. Well, and it's interesting because I don't want to just skim over. This is a couple of times that you've mentioned the importance of knowing and stating the why behind things.
Hmm.
So I think what I love is your observation is something as simple as why Asana,
Hmm.
why this. And
Hmm.
you might think, well, it's important to say, why do we have a culture of consistency or empathy, right? But why do we care if we have the explanation on Asana? And it's funny because I just had a situation 2 weeks ago at Window Works, and you all know I don't own it anymore, but I sort of chairman of boardish it, right? And I'm very isn't the word. I'm somewhat involved in the people dynamics. Let's put it that way,
Sure.
right? Everybody, I to date, everybody that's with us, I have hired.
Hmm.
Okay. So there's some responsibility there to that person to managing them, even though JC is actually doing all of it. But that's a place where I do get brought in on a regular basis. And interestingly, in the last 3 months, I've had to have more than a couple of conversations about you can't do that thing. And, well, I don't understand and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, you know what? Let me wind it back to the why.
Yes.
You think I'm just saying no to using this company's materials. Like,
Sure.
one of the salespeople wanted to just, order all new fabric books sent to the showroom. And I'm like, no, it's like, oh, they're free. They won't cost us any money. And I'm like, yeah, right. No, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's when I realized, like, I sat down and I explained why the companies that are in the showroom are in the showroom.
Yes.
how
Yes.
they are selected, why they are selected. And so my observation is that we are doing this on a regular basis.
Mhm.
But if we miss doing it like you're doing it, from a let's just break it all down, let's put it all in front of you, let's have a lovely 3-day event where not only are we working hard and learning, but we're also, really getting fueled here,
Yeah.
right? And
Yes.
it's funny because I don't know that I would have at a team training thought, let's explain the why behind the big vendor choices we made, or blah blah blah. But you know what, it's
It's
important and
important.
it's valuable, and I'm
That's
realizing I'm
right.
doing it anyway all along the week, but I'm doing it one
Yeah.
here, one conversation, one here, one conversation,
Right,
right?
right. Yeah. So let's bring it all together. Let's just all be
Yeah,
on the same page. And yeah. So then we don't
exa-
have to have these repeat conversations, that we
that's
all
right.
are on the same page and
Yeah,
understand um, what makes, I call it IJD, what makes IJD IJD.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
more than just us being an interior design firm.
Yeah, it's so true, because anytime I've had to sit and explain the why to somebody, even if it's why are we using this vendor, why do we use these drapery rods,
Hmm.
I literally, when you just said, it's IJD, I'm like, the word, this is the window works way.
Yeah.
This is this is not arbitrary.
Hmm.
This is well thought out. It's been
Yes.
decided,
Yes.
right? And I'll say, look, you're new-ish here, whether it's 2 weeks, 2 months, whatever it is. You know, it's not that we can't be taught something. It's not that you can't bring something to our attention. But my aha with you is that when you explain the why for the thing, they're less likely to come to you with different things that they want to change for
Yes.
no reason at all. They've
Exactly.
got to come with, okay, this lines up with our values. This lines up with the why, right,
That's
Jen?
right. Yes. That's
Yeah.
exactly it. Yes.
Jeez, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what it is? It's so funny because I've got my grandson now. He's 5. Because this little man would live on carbohydrates if you let
Of
him.
course.
Like
I would too.
legit.
I
I
would
mean,
too.
I know, right? But I mean, he's like, he'll go from pizza to cereal to rice to, like,
Yeah.
it's just like, dude. And so this summer I've had him a lot at the beach house, and I'm just like, hey, buddy, we need some protein. Like, you have to have some protein.
Yeah.
And he's like, what's protein, mom? And I'm like, it's this and it's that and the other thing. And just the other day I was making him breakfast, the 3 kids, and who wanted what and who wanted what. And, he looks over, he goes, Mom, does Bella's breakfast have protein?
He was calling you out.
And I was like, and I said to myself, as a matter of fact, Juan Carlos, it doesn't. But I can trust her to eat protein during the
That's
day.
right. Yeah, we don't have a
I
problem.
got to get a half a dozen eggs with you before I take you to the beach so that you don't drop over on me.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love it.
But it's like the why. I tell them, it's the protein makes you strong. The protein gives you energy. Like, you
Yes.
want to be fast, right? Yeah, mom, I want to be
Yes.
fast.
Yes.
So I got
Yeah.
to attach the
Well,
why for them.
and I hate to say this, but I'm a mom. And so I relate a lot of this to being a mom.
Yes,
And part of that is we have to discipline our kids sometimes. And it's not because we're mean and we just want to make them miserable. There's a reason behind
that's
it. We're
right.
forming something,
That's right.
And so um it's been a mindset shift lately,
Yes.
because I have had team members that weren't on board, and it made it
During this past year?
uh-huh and I had
Oh,
to um let them go so we could
mm.
flourish,
Fly, little birdie, fly, right? Well,
yes.
what's that saying? The people that got you where you are aren't necessarily the same people that will
Yes.
be with you when you go to the next stop.
Yep. Yep.
It's like people get on and off the bus,
And it's
right?
hard because I'm a
Yeah.
people person. I love people. I get really close with people. But I read a really great book called Necessary Endings by Dr. Henry Cloud.
Oh, love
And
that.
yes, it was, again, another transformative read for me. I was hanging on, and this was part of my conversation that I had with Jude when I first met him, that I knew my team, it wasn't right, but I was attached, because you
And
become
ignoring
attached
it.
and you
Yep.
ignore it and you
Yep.
enable bad behavior,
Yep.
that doesn't line up with what your core values are or where you want to go. And I wasn't getting to this next level that I wanted to go, where I could see us going. And this book helped me realize that, just like a rose bush, that there's different things that will kill a rose bush. And sometimes you have to cut it,
Yes.
goods, even good people, great people who you love and
Yes.
adore, but you have to cut it so then it can flourish. And so
Yes.
that helped me as well. As you were asking in an earlier question, that was one of the things that happened to get me to the place where I am.
Mm.
And then I had to go through the whole rehiring people. And I looked at it a lot different. I looked at who's going to hold up the pillar,
Right,
not
right,
be the
right.
pillar, but who's going to
Yep,
hold it up and
exactly.
align with my non-negotiables.
That's right. And now your, initial phone call with a prospective employee, your
Yes.
interview, it sprinkles it all through. And if they're looking at you like, this is crazy pants, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
keep it moving. You're
That's
not
right.
for us,
That's
right?
right. Yes, and it
Yeah.
makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
I now have this team that every day I come to work and I'm like, "Oh my
I
gosh."
know. Great when everybody's in the right
Oh,
seat. All the ducks are
yes.
right.
Yes, it
Yes.
just makes like all we've
Ah.
I've never been so organized in my life, and just the presentations like with clients and client communication. Um, it's just, I don't know, as the young people say today, we're on fire. I have teenagers.
That's
I
awesome.
won't say bro, but I'll say
Yeah,
fire.
yeah. Oh, yeah, my 9-year-old granddaughter, "Hey, bruh." I'm
Yeah.
like,
Uh-huh.
"Bruh." Well,
Yeah.
come on.
That's right.
"That ain't your bruh, girl."
That's right.
You know, said it one time, I giggled, twice, nope,
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah. 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 We're done.
That's it. Oh my god. It's fun though. She's just trying it on for size, right?
Yes.
Like,
Yes. Yeah. Seeing
that's
what I can get away with.
that's fine. She wants to try to roll the word around. What does it
Yes.
feel like when I say it,
Yeah.
right? Let me ask you, have you ever wished you could sit at a table with other smart, driven designers and window treatment pros and just talk through the challenges in your business? Not in a giant ballroom, not at a keynote where you leave with a notebook full of ideas, but a real conversation, real coaching, and real clarity. That's what happens at my Power Talk Friday events. On October 24th at High Point Market, I am bringing, this is 2025, I am bringing 5 powerhouse experts, Shayna Polino, Andrea Libros, Eileen Hahn, Amber De La Garza, and Donna Hoffman for a full day of clarity, strategy, and connection. And here's the thing. There are no 2 Power Talk Fridays that are ever the same. Every lineup is brand new, so every single time you walk away with fresh insights and breakthroughs that you didn't even know you needed. The other thing about a Power Talk Friday is I always say if you've been to one, you got to go to another one, right? They are exactly different, just as I said. But here's the other thing. When you go to a Power Talk Friday, even if the experts were the same a year or 2 or 3 or 4 years later, you're ready for different information. Have you ever listened to a podcast episode and thought you got a lot of information from it and then listened to the same episode 3 years later when we rerun it or something and you're like, my gosh, I didn't realize that. I didn't pick that up the first time because you grow. So your ability to capture information grows. So please, if you are a Power Talk Friday alumni and you don't think you need to do it again, think twice. You're the person who knows how great this is. Okay. And here's the thing, up to 18 seats only. That's it. No more than that. So we want this ratio of experts to you so that we can give you quality time and information. All right. So if you're ready to step out of the weeds and into your CEO role, I want you to go to powertalkfriday.com and sign up now. And then I will see you October 24th, 2025 in High Point. Okay. All right. So here's the thing. Inner dramatic interchange,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Inner confidence, inner strength, probably resilience, I'm imagining, joy, happiness. I'm imagining all of these changes
Yeah.
internally. Jen, are they all like bang, 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 or like not quite that one?
No, no, they actually are. It has been a hard year of transformation. That's the way I look at it. Is we had, like I said earlier, we had all the work. We had the great work coming in. We had a beautiful website. We had the gorgeous photography. But that's only going to take you so far.
Right.
You really got to have the inner strength. And with that inner strength, it came nights where I was up all night, where my tummy was all twisted and knotted, and really
Mm,
having to go through some hard things, but it was this little mountain that we just kept on climbing and putting one step in front of the other. And now we're at the top and being able to now see a more beautiful sight, and that's where the
Yes.
joy's coming in. And just not to say there aren't going to be hard times, but now I feel like we're more solid to be there for
Oh,
those
yeah, there's
difficult
always gonna be
times.
hard times, but now you're stronger to be able
Yes.
to withstand them. I mean,
Yes.
that's the whole point, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, get the core, get the foundation, get yourself strong because it's all coming.
Yes.
It's all coming. It's not like any of us escapes it.
Yes. Yeah. No, 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 no. And these fears that I used to have, I don't have the fears anymore because we've gone through, I feel like, some of the hardest things. And I'm sure there's more, but I know we can handle it. We can withstand it.
There's a difference, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
There's a difference. It's like, if you've ever heard the episode with Heather Hansen,
Yes.
she is, yeah, right, right. So
Yeah.
she's a life coach,
Yeah.
specializes in women, and she comes from a career as being an attorney. And so her language, and I hear it every time, is, gather the evidence that you can do the thing. Right.
Hmm.
Even, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? And if you're having a moment where you just got your feet kicked out from under you, okay,
Yeah.
take a breath,
Yeah.
have a little cry if you need to,
Yeah.
but look around. Is there evidence that I can get up from this?
Yep.
And if there is, tap into it,
That's
right?
right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, love it. Now, here's the interesting thing. You did the docuseries with Jude. It's I mean, my goodness. It's like, listen, each one of us as the subject, okay, but it's him. I mean, come
It really
on.
is him. He is so good.
I mean, he just finds each of us at our core
He
who we
does.
are.
Yes.
Have you been seeing the teasers for Brad Levitt's
Oh,
docuseries?
yes.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
so
I'm just
good.
like, are you
I
kidding
know.
me?
I'm dying.
But I mean, I loved yours also. I watched all of yours and you've got more coming out, you said.
Yes.
So the question is two questions. Number one is I can imagine. Well, I was going to say if you had done the docuseries before this year of growth, but Jude was the catalyst for the growth.
Mhm.
So they came together.
They came
It's like I
together.
was like, well, if you had done the docuseries before you had this growth period, it would have been a completely different docuseries.
I
But
agree.
he is the reason for the growth. So talk to me about why the docuseries, what was on your mind? Why did you decide to pull the trigger? Look, he just because listen, for anybody who has listened on my podcast years ago and heard the investment I made in the docuseries, he has other levels now.
Sure.
So if you've heard that show and you're like, are you kidding me? You're out of your mind. There are other ways to do it. And I'm not going to bother quoting prices because it is all specialized. And,
Sure.
you're going to listen to this in 2025 and then in 2029, and then it's all completely different. But if you ever heard what I paid, you don't have to worry. It always has to be that. That's all I'm saying. I went all in. I was like, Jude, let's go.
I mean,
yeah. So, but why did you do it, Jen? Why did you choose to do a docuseries?
I didn't know I was going to do a docuseries. It's something that just kind of happened. Part of conversation that he and I had, and again, it was just an innocent conversation. I was at this retreat. He asked if he could interview me, and I started to talk to him. And my dad was a videographer, so I started talking to him about that. And I said my dad was a storyteller, and that's the way I also like to design, is by telling someone's story and help them write. And he was like, well, let's meet for breakfast. I want to hear more about your story. So we just started talking. And as I'm sitting there, I'm like, I've got to do a docuseries. Like, I just feel like this is part of my next step. It was just something within me.
Felt right.
It
right?
felt right.
Yeah.
And I was a little nervous about how much it was going to cost. But then again, I had the belief of it's all going to work out. It's all going to benefit. I just had this trust. Again, I
Yes.
spoke about trust earlier. Jude is someone you sit down and you just want to share everything
I know.
about yourself. Like, you just trust him. And that's completely what I did. It was the faith over fear, and I was going to put all my money into this man and just trust that something's going to come of it. And it's so much more than a docuseries that came out of it. It is beautiful. When I saw it, I couldn't even believe that this was me. Like, I thought I was watching someone else's story. It was just so good.
Isn't it crazy?
And he pulled a lot of that out of me. But something that happened that clicked was me telling myself, that's you. Because I had this whole
Mm.
fear of, I'm not this person, but I really am. And I have done this, and I need to believe in myself. And so many, I feel like women, men too, but I feel like this is a woman quality that we do feel like we're not always good enough, or we could be better, or we strive harder. And
Yes.
um, just being in a place where I'm proud of myself is a lot, because I'm a girl that comes from not finishing college, being a flight attendant, just handing out cokes, not thinking I could do anything more than that, to create a business in a short amount of time and to have a docuseries. Um, that was more for me at the
Mm.
end of the day.
Right.
And within that, there has been return of my investment, because that's
Right.
something that people will ask me when they hear that I did a docuseries. They want to talk because they're interested in working with Jude. And I'm like, you have to do it. It will transform you. And that's what this is about.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
what comes with it is
The
this
marketing is the
beautiful.
juice, right?
Yes,
It's the
yes. That then
gravy.
gives
Yeah.
you the confidence to go out and show potential clients, what you can do and how
Yeah.
awesome you really are. So
Yeah.
that's what it was for me. And now we're going to round two. I called him up. I was like, Jude, we got to keep going. What's next?
Ah, that's awesome.
So that should be coming out I think at the end of August, early September. So I'm excited
That's
for that.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because we went about it, you and I, from almost two different directions. You went about it to basically, to put words in your mouth, it sounds like, to just document your credibility,
Yeah.
document and prove that, I am the CEO of this company. I have built this thing. And if somebody likes the docuseries, great. And if I get a new client from it, great. But this is kind of for me.
Yeah.
Right. And then you're seeing the marketing happen as a result of it.
Hmm.
For me, it was the other way.
Yeah.
For me, I was like, let's make something to market this thing with. Let's blow this thing up. Let's tell everybody about it. Like, let's find every one of those 80,000 interior designers in the US that still don't know about a well-designed business, right? But what was funny for me was the other aha was watching, all of the private interviews that he did when I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't around,
Yes.
with Sandra Funk and Corey Damon Jenkins and everybody, Cheryl Luckett, all of the people in between. And, I remember when I was sitting there and Jude kept saying to me throughout the process, you're an economy. That's what he called me, because you're an economy. Where you go, you create revenue for yourself and everybody around you.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I like that. I
He's
I
good.
like that.
He
You know
is
what I mean?
good.
Yeah. And I was like, that just feels so like right. Like I want
Yes.
everybody, let's all go. Let's all go to the promised land. Let's all
Yes.
get there. Let's all be happy. Let's all have great businesses. You sell as much as you can sell. You sell as much as you can sell. Like just like forget about who has what. Just
Yeah.
go create as much as you can and let's all stand next to each other and high five each other.
That's right.
And so what for me, I was like, when I saw my docuseries, I was like, oh, that's what's happening. Like, oh, that's what's happening. Like, this is what's happening. It's the
Yeah.
thing that's in my head is actually happening out there.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It was like really, so it was funny. So I went into it for the marketing
Yeah.
purposes and got the other as an unexpected gravy. So we went in for opposite
Yeah.
reasons and both got both outcomes from
That's
from
right.
it. Right.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
what's important. I think for if you did do a docu-series, or if someone's listening is interested, everyone, again, we've talked a lot in this podcast about your why, is understand what's
Yes.
your why behind it. And
Yeah.
you're actually going to get probably something completely different
Right.
than what you're expecting, but just to go in vulnerable so you can bring down those walls and really he has a way of transforming you, your mind, the way you think, and then that entails like your business changing
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it becoming more solid.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a the experience is, it's funny because I said to him one time, I don't know if it was when we were done already and he was in post production or during it, but at one point I said to him, I said, you have this little tiny superpower, you probably know it. And he's like, what? And I said, he came with me for a year.
Mm-hmm.
KBIS, High
Mm-hmm.
Point 2 times, every other place in between, Clearwater, the beach house, everywhere else, right? And I said, do you know how many times you put a mic on and off of me? Here, fish it down the
Yeah.
back, like get it, let me pull it from your
Yeah,
shirt,
yeah, yeah.
and I'm like, I've never once felt weird.
Mhm.
Like, and I don't mean weird, like weird,
Sure.
you
Yeah,
know what
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
saying? But like, we're women and we got 19,000, things sucking us in and tightening us up
Yeah.
and all the crap. And, it's just and the thing is, and I said to him, I get mic'd up a lot by a lot of men. And it's every time been a level of uncomfortable.
Uh-huh.
Both the man is uncomfortable and I'm uncomfortable.
Mhm.
Not uncomfortable enough that I'm like, I can't get on stage because the
Sure.
guy's putting the mic on me.
Yeah.
But he just, and I said to him, that's like the tiniest thing, but it's so indicative of the whole thing
Mhm.
because there's no weirdness at that level. There's no holding back at I'm just like, okay, well, just lift
Yeah,
the
you're
shirt and just
comfortable.
do that thing and blah, blah, blah. And then when he asks you a question, you just do that same thing. Like
Mhm.
in sales, JC calls it the yes train, right?
Mhm.
So you walk in, you set the client up and you give them 5, 6 easy yes things to say to, so that now when you really want to steer them to your solutions or whatever, they're on the yes train.
Right.
They're
Yeah, I
feeling
like
like,
that.
oh, we
Yeah.
get along. We like you. Okay, you have good ideas. Yes. And they're like, wait, yes to $10,000. Oh, wait, go back. Yes to 50,000. Oh, wait a minute. Right. But with Jude, it was indicative of that same thing. It's like that little tiny moment is so intimate yet so on a thing that when you're in the camera and he asks you a deep question, you're just in that same, like, this isn't weird. It's
Yeah.
just like,
Oh,
well, it's Jude and I got to answer him.
I agree so much, and I've told him that myself. And other women that I've spoken with who have wanted to work with Jude, they've hit me up on Instagram and my DMs, and I'm like, there's a way about him that just makes you,
Yes.
because that's what someone always says, like, I don't want to get in front of a
I don't want
camera.
to be in camera.
And I'm
Right. Yeah.
like, I promise you, you will not. It might be weird for the first like 2 seconds
25 seconds.
because you're in your
Exactly.
head, but as soon as he starts talking, there's just this ease that goes
Yep.
over him, and you're just having a conversation with a
That's right.
friend because he becomes a friend.
That's it.
He allows you to really like go deep in a very comfortable way where you don't feel like you're going to be exposed.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. And the result of that is that you can get from 0 to 60 with your clients faster.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because now, we always say, all of us on the show for years have said, hey, if you show up authentically in your Instagram, then when people meet you, they're like, oh, I feel like I know you.
Right.
How about if you show up authentically in an hour-long docuseries,
Right. Yeah.
right? Like they're picking you. They're
Yeah.
like, I know Jen. I
Yes.
get her. I get her values. I get her design aesthetic. I get the way she interacts with her team, her family. I'm good with this lady,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's a level of expression and credibility that makes doing business with people easier,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's always been my heart, is always to be very authentic to who I am. Like I said this before, like I get words mixed up all the time. I'll say the wrong word meaning something else. And that's just who I am. Like I don't want to
That's
be
it.
apologetic over
No,
that. So
no.
I want to put that out there that I can be a goofball. Like I take my job very seriously, but I don't take myself seriously,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. 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 No,
Hmm.
I think it's outstanding. So before we go, it's been a big year, internally, a big year, a lot of growth as a CEO, as a human, it sounds
Hmm.
like also,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
As a leader,
Yeah.
right? What are you thinking now? Is there another hurdle, another something that you're like, okay, I have the evidence that I can do hard things, and there's
Yes.
another hard thing? Or are you like, now it's just it's I don't think for one second you have to qualify and say, I'm always going to be a learner, I'm always going to
Sure.
I just mean, are you like, you know what? Let me just run this ship now. Let me just keep leaning into it, or
I,
where are you at, Jen?
I got a couple of things actually.
Okay, good.
um, we live in Chicago right now. Chicago is not always going to be our home base. We will be moving in 2 years. So I am thinking ahead. I'm thinking, do we keep IJD in Chicago and then we extend it to wherever we go? That is on my head. I'm already kind of planting seeds and getting that together and ready. The other thing that I'm thinking too is I've really, really got a passion of building a business and being this entrepreneur and just helping others. That's one reason I think when I met you, I was like, Luann, I decided a goal of mine is going to be on a podcast. I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but I want to do it. And as I've thought about me saying that to you, going, what was I thinking? I thought I have a heart for people, and I have a
Mm.
heart for being empathetic where they are and understanding and going through it all. And however I can be there, like I always say, my DMs are open, like reach out to me. And I do. I have other designers. I love talking business. I love
Mm.
talking of the ups and the downs. And I always say, what I do is not going to be right for you, but I'll help you get to where you want to go,
Yeah.
however you want me to. This is another area where Jude and I have really bonded over, and we talk a lot now outside of us working on docuseries of, somehow maybe collaborating together, because we both have a heart for entrepreneurs
Oh,
and don't know what that looks like yet, but I feel
right.
like this season is helping me get to wherever that might go.
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
love it. I
Yeah.
think it's amazing. I'm so glad. I have to tell you, I am a firm believer in things happen when and the way they're supposed
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
And
Me
if you
too.
had applied a year ago and my queue was a minute long and you had been in, it would have been a completely different
Hmm. Yeah.
conversation.
I think so
And
too.
I love that this year happened for you. And
Hmm.
it's funny because I know, well, I'm going to confirm with you, but I believe we met for the first time at High Point 24. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
At the IDS party,
Yep.
right?
Hmm.
Outside,
Yep.
across from like Surrey and
Uh-huh.
IHFC, right? So I have to tell you that I even see the difference in you, like from that
Yeah.
half-hour
Sure.
conversation to this, even the 15 minutes we spoke before we got on air.
Yeah.
There is, and that's why I put those words in your mouth when I said resilience,
Mm.
strength,
Hmm.
calm, joy,
Hmm.
happiness. It's all there. It's like
Hmm.
coming through.
Mm.
Um, and it's exciting. And I'm
Hmm.
so happy for you,
Thank
Jen.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
That means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a crazy thing because it's they say, it's written on our face what we're thinking, what we're doing, and all the things. And
Hmm.
there does just seem to be a glow and a calmness and a
Mm.
self-assurance,
Hmm. Yeah.
you know,
Thank
that
you. Thank you for
yeah.
saying that, because I've said this before, but there's still that little girl within me who didn't think that she was good enough.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now it's like, I wish I could go back to that 10-year-old girl,
Yeah.
13-year-old girl, 16, even 30,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Even
Yes.
40. Gosh, we'll even go to
Yes.
40 and be like, you got this,
It's
it's
fine.
one
Yeah.
day at a time, one foot in front of the other. And it is about perseverance and just
Yeah.
even when it's hard to keep on going, because there are hard days.
How old are your kids, Jen?
I have a 16-year-old and an 8-year-old. So I have
I
a
see.
bit of a gap. And then I have two
Yeah.
stepchildren that are my kids as well, that are 16 and 20. So,
Okay. So
yeah.
yeah. So you've got to be doing the how can I build this in them? How can I
Hmm.
build this in them,
Yes.
right?
Very important to me.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Because I mean, listen, there are those of us that have parents that were asleep at the wheel, and that
Hmm.
could be the nicest thing we could say about
Hmm.
somebody's horrible parent,
Yeah.
right? But for everybody that had a nice, good quality parent, but still missed
Yeah.
that little self-assurance thing, that little, like,
Yep.
it's like, what is the secret switch? You
Yep.
know what I mean? It's like I look at my grandkids and I think to myself, how do you build it into them? How do you,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
it's like, it's funny because one of the things I learned, I read last year, and this is all the new parenting, right? So don't
Yeah.
let's.
Right.
Every time I see one of those things on Instagram, like how my boomer mom raised
Yeah.
me, and how I'm making her babysit my kids, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll take half of it, the other half of it, you can kiss my butt,
Mhm.
right? But one of the things that was so telling to me was that when a kid does something, any accomplishment, big, small, or little, instead of saying, I'm so proud of you,
Mm.
it's how do you feel right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And I'm
Yeah.
like, whoa, that's a very significant, tiny
Shift.
swish.
Yeah.
Yeah, switch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm consistently saying, and what happens is I think we're training. Well, I'm personally, I haven't talked to my daughters about it yet. I just do it when I have them. I'm assuming they're watching Instagram and getting the
That's right.
parenting hacks too.
That's
I
right.
don't know. But like I notice when I do it, they're like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no, look at my mom's eyeballs. Look at my eyeballs. Tell me how you feel right now.
Yeah.
How do you feel? And they're just like, when they little, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, happy, sad, glad, mad, happy. I feel happy. Tell me about how does happy feel? Like I'm trying to make them use the words to say, I just hit the ball and I ran to first base.
And it felt
And what
good.
does it feel like?
Yeah, it felt
You know what I
good.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so your docuseries is that, right?
Yeah, it
You
is.
hit the ball, you ran to first base,
And it
and you
feels
can
good.
go and look at it and go, dang it, this is me.
Yeah.
I am this thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love it for you, Jen. I really do. I'm
Thank
super
you.
excited. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we will put the link in the show notes so that everybody can see it. And it would, I know we'll see each other at markets and different things.
Yeah, I'll be there in October. So hopefully I'll see you.
Okay. So let's keep track of this growth and all the other things, because this is really that watershed moment, right? It's like, okay,
Yeah.
I have arrived,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I have arrived. I don't need a sign on my back that says I've arrived, but I know I've arrived.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I love that for you.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Good for you. Great feeling. Great feeling.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Luann.
Well, thanks so much for being here and sharing all that today, Jen.
Oh, it's been a blast. I really appreciate you having me on.
There's something powerful when you talk to a business owner who's done the work. Not just the work of what they do for a living, but the hard internal work of becoming a leader. And that was Jen today. I could feel the calm in her confidence, and I hope you heard it too. Her realization that she was living like a designer and not the boss is one that I see often. I've coached dozens of smart, capable creatives who know how to run a project, but often haven't yet stopped and thought about how they have to step into the role of running the company. Jen's journey, redefining her team, reshaping her processes, and rooting her business in values is exactly what it takes to move from employee to CEO. I especially love the way she explained the idea that the pillars of your business aren't your people, they're your processes and your values. That's gold, because people support pillars, but if you're relying on personalities instead of principles, then you'll build something fragile. Her 3 pillars, transparency, empathy, and consistency, has created also her culture. And that's what creates trust inside and out. Jude, let's talk about Jude for a second. What can I say about this man that I haven't already said? He's a genius. He truly is. He finds the truth behind your eyes, and he helps you see it too. It was his spark that created Jen's transformation, right? And he was the creative force behind my own docuseries, which you can find on YouTube or luannigara.com. If you haven't watched it yet, please do so. Watch mine, watch Jen's, watch all of the others that he's created in these last few years. It is absolutely remarkable to see, really just to see yourself through his eyes. It's such a gift. And then I also want to make sure I give a shout out to my friend Rick Campos. Rick, thank you for creating a space where these kinds of business breakthroughs happen. Your retreat was the catalyst for clarity for Jen and so many other designers. And so if you're listening today and realizing you've been avoiding the foundational work, mission, vision, values, please start there. Don't wait until your business feels off track. The clarity of these is what makes everything else click. Whether you take quiet walks like Jen did, whether you hire a coach, whether you sit down with your team, do the work. Build your business on something solid and something that's valuable for you, right? Now, here are a few more steps that you can take right now. First, look at your tools and systems and ask yourself, do I know why we use each one? And does my team understand why? All right. So think about that. Somebody that follows a process or a system just because, but doesn't understand the why behind it, doesn't do it as closely and with as much detail as they do when they get it. So if you either have ones that are like, why are we doing this anymore? Or you have ones that you know are super important to you, clear it up either way for yourself and for your team. And then the second thing I'd like you to do is choose one company value and make it a topic of your next team meeting. Share a story with your team, why it matters to you. Bring it to life for them. Let them imagine themselves in it and understand why it's so important to you. And then therefore, they'll be able to express it and talk about it in their interactions as they represent your company. Third one is audit your team. Are they upholding your pillars, your values, or are they weighing them down? This is so important. It's a hard one, but it is important because you can't be everywhere. You're not going to be everywhere. And not only are the people on your team, whether it's 1 or 2 people or 22 people, they're having conversations representing you in the wild, right? And they also have direct impact on your interactions in your environment, whether that's you're a remote team and you meet by Zoom or it's an in-person team. And it's so funny because this one, always reminds me of this funny story that happened back in the 80s. And you may have heard me tell this story before, but there was a time at WindowWorks when I was super frustrated and, we were dealing with a situation and I was talking with my showroom coordinator and I just said, but that's not the way we do things. Like I was upset about an installer and I was like, that's not the way we do things. Like we can't say that kind of thing or do that kind of thing, whatever it was. And she looked at me and she stopped me in my tracks when she said this. She goes, Lou, I get it. How the heck are we supposed to soar like eagles when we're flying with turkeys? And, we had a great laugh, but it just stuck with me all that day, all that week. The people around you are important. And if you have they're really great but type of people on your immediate team, your extended team, you got to address it. You got to address it. So the third thing I'm going to ask you to do today is to audit your team. And then the fourth thing is, if you feel stuck on defining your values, start writing down, like for me, it was easier if I started to write down the things I absolutely would not tolerate, like non-negotiables, right? It's sort of like when you work with your design clients, maybe they don't know what they want, but they often know what they don't want, right? So you can do it that way. You can start with what you won't tolerate, what you will not accept. And then you can start to see the clarity on what should it be like. And also, I'll just say, the book by Gino Wickman, Traction, is a great book if you have not really sat down and talked with yourself about your values and your culture and your vision and your mission. It's something to get the brain going. All right. So I hope you take those 4 tips to heart today. I hope that you enjoyed this episode with Jen. I certainly did. I was so happy to see and hear the transformation in her. And, you can have that same transformation if you are also feeling a little uneasy. And a year ago, she wrote down imposter syndrome and fear. And this year, she's like, that's not that girl anymore. That's not her. And so how awesome is that? So Jen, congratulations. Jude and Rick, thank you so much for being part of Jen's journey and bringing these, clarity and insights to her. It's just so awesome. That's why I love you guys. You're my faves. Anyway, all right. Thank you, Jen. Thank you for showing up and being here with me. I do appreciate it. Decide to be excellent. Thank you for joining me today. This podcast is a production of Luann Nigara, Inc. If you want to know more about me, my books, or Luann University, go to luannnigara.com. And if you are interested in having WindowWorks help you with your next window treatment or awning project in the New York, New Jersey metro area, go to windowworksnj.com to learn more. Have an excellent day.